It's all right.
It's good for you to tell.
All right. I was just quickly introducing myself, bangalee123.MOV, for some of you don't know me. I'm a member of the old timer. For me, I'm totally obligated to this course as a member of DAO. Wow. I do also represent a huge community in Minnesota. It has to do with the Muslim community. Shut your mouth, let me talk. My community, over the time, always been ostracized for some reason. Need to be defined, I don't know. But 5 administrations of OLM lost sight of this community. And many times they speak on things that administration has done to them. Let me get an example. In my Muslim culture, Muslim culture, we do have a culture as well. We have 2 important days in the Muslim religion. One is the Ramadan, and another one is the Tabaski. Maybe you all know those big days come in Muslim calendar. And none of the OLM administration, we continue to say diversity. That's true. That our president, I'll call you president because you're my president, our old timer, and you will be our president. Diversity. But we are not being seen a particular diversity. So, Mr. President, my question to you is, what message do you have to take to my people in connecting them to the global dream that we should propose them? Because past administration only come to them when they need their vote. After that, they have been dumb on the side. We don't hear Ramadan greeting from them. We don't see it. Then around we have our festivity. At one point, one other frustration, this community, all we have is, at the end of the period, say the Ramadan period, we have a prayer section. And that is usually done outside, open place. But unfortunately for us here, it always falls in the cold season. So we can't assemble outside in the cold. So we sometimes search for indoor place like a gym, but that has been our frustration. So these are many things that make our community see that yes, we are really connected and we are represented fully. Give me no clue, what message you have for my community?
Thank you very much, Bangalee. The number 1 message I have for your community is that we are one.
Thank you.
In spite of religious diversity, we pray to one God, Allah.
Right.
I believe here in this gathering today we pay respect to that religious diversity. We respect ethnic and religious diversity. We consider your community to be an integral part of our larger community. We will do everything we can to make sure that that message is always clear. And I believe you can be a testament to the fact that in your association with us, our leadership has always reached out to you. We will continue that. We hope that you will continue to be a bridge to make sure that our communities are integrated, and we will do all we can to facilitate your traditions, as we will for all of the ethnic and religious groupings in the Liberian community. So please, you and I and others have planned outreach to your community, and my message is going to be simple. We are one.
Thank you. So next on my list. So we had a list of that way. My name is Alvin Rosali, that's my full name. And originally I'm from Green Bay. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Green Bay organization in Minnesota, but I remember a few months back, we had an activity in which the president of Oklahoma were invited to the occasion. What's interesting to me here today is, unfortunately today, nobody from the organization has been represented here. I don't know whether it makes you call to have a representative from the organization here or not. I don't really know. But I have a question. My question to you, Mr. President of Oklahoma. You mentioned earlier that $250,000 grant was made available and it wasn't taken advantage of. Please go back. What I want to know this time around is, what do you have in place that when the same opportunity present itself again this time around, you won't take advantage of that?
Well, the first thing I want to clarify is that the function that you were the function of which you were speaking of was a function in which the Grand Leader organization decided to honor me for the assistance that I've given to the organization. I have very close ties with people from Grand Leader. I have a lot of respect for that organization. The function here today is an old-timers gathering to discuss the role of old-timers in this campaign.
That's good. I like that.
So there's no representative here from the NEMA organization or any other county organization, except people are here in their capacity as supporters of this campaign and members of Oklahoma. So let's make that clear.
That's good.
On the question of the community center funding, I've been in finance in this country for over 20 years. More than 7 years in the mortgage industry. My advice to OLM in the past has been, with this funding, let us use it to acquire a property within the means of using this funding as down payment. People had a dream of a $3 million center with only $250,000 to work with. It means you have $2.75 million that you need to use as that is your gap. So you need to live within your means. With $250,000 and my own experience in finance, you can get a building for about $1 million to $1.25 million and use that for down payment. And use that as a stepping stone to the next level. So we'll pursue that money. We'll go after that money. If we can get more, we'll get more. The structure that we talked about, we're trying to bring in one business leader at the CEO level or the vice president level to be on our board. Bring the major nonprofit leader to be on our board. Bring the major politician to be on our board. With that, maybe we can get 500,000, maybe more, and we can use that now to put our financial knowledge together to structure financing to be able to acquire the building.
We'll take one question from the press, and then I think we will pull this thing out and go in.
My name is Ben Brown. Mr. Dwayne, it's interesting that from Bushchicken. Mr. Dwayne, it's very interesting that you touch on transforming ORM to a non-profit organization. But my question to you is, as it is right now, OIM Constitution put it in a position where it operates as, I would call it, maybe a political organization. Now, my question to you is, at what point do you, if you become the president, at what point do you turn OIM into a non-profit organization? Is it the first year of your presidency, and then what do you do with the Constitution, the present Constitution?
First of all, I'll begin by saying when I become president. That will be business order number 1. Because I do not want to be standing here 2 years from now, looking back and people asking me, what have you accomplished? In order to accomplish what I want to accomplish, I need that structure. I need those outsiders on the board. This community needs that. So that restructure will be the first order of business. To be implemented within the matter of the first few months. That's what I said earlier. The position I'm running for will be the first casualty in this restructure. Once we do that, we can move on. People, let me clarify this. The OLM is registered as a non-profit corporation. We are not saying that we'll make it a non-profit. We are saying we'll make it behave like a non-profit. You cannot have a non-profit corporation entity that is set up with a political structure. And then all day you have clashes. Every time you have clashes. There's a saying that if you keep doing the same thing over and over, but you expect a different result, the classic definition of insanity. We are not insane. So if we expect something different from this organization, we must do something different. Thank you.
All right. The All Media Institution is represented by Mr. Sayre Morris. So, take your questions.
My name is Robert Sayre Morris. I own and operate the Liberian Media and Advertising Services. I have 2 questions. Firstly, I would like to apologize for coming late because I'm just coming from church. Because the Bible tells us to serve our Creator in the days of our youth. And before I get old, I want to make sure my name is on that list. The first question is, Mr. Dwayne, we have many youth in our community from Liberia. And sometimes it breaks my heart. When you go to Anoka jail, you see Liberian kids incarcerated. When you go to Plymouth, because I attended some institution over there once upon a time in school, and it's so sad. We have a lot of Liberians there. Recently, several Liberians were deported, 18 to be precise. Now, what will your administration do to make the youth in this community who have become delinquent to become productive? And secondly, we came to this country, most of us, during the heat of the Liberian civil conflict. We sent for our mothers, we sent for our fathers. We refer to them as the elderly. When they come to this country, we have what they call cultural shock. This is a new cultural environment. We are not in Liberia or in Africa no more. Most of them are confined like in jail in the various homes. There are no programs for them. When we leave and go to work or go out of town, they are incarcerated. So they can't even use the phone. So what will your administration do, Mr. Brian, when you get to power?
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris. On the first question with our youth, the You know, sadly, a few months ago when ASA, a local non-profit corporate entity, was hosting a soccer tournament that brought the community together very beautifully, we had the occasion to experience this unfortunate side of our community we will speak of. A conflict, a feud that began in February erupted on the field. There was shooting. It was a mixed occasion because the worst and the best of us came together within a matter of minutes. Young men in our community, the same very young group, risked their lives to chase after the shooter to make sure he was apprehended. The first media stories about that event painted our community in the worst light. I took upon myself to join the leaders of ASA, Mr. George Harris, sitting here is one of the leaders of ASA. We made sure that the community leadership in this place, the Brooklyn Center city officials, gave us credit for what we did right. We let them know that we understand our rights as community citizens and our obligations. The starting point for solving the problem he talked about is at the point of entry. Somebody must reach to these young people when they first enter the United States to give them counseling services, to let them know the environment that they live in, that when you get in trouble, there's no uncle that's going to go beg for you. The refugee processing entities do not have relationships with our community organization. That's something we have to change. The elderly, we have to look at services to keep them engaged, to keep them interacting with the young folks, to give them that sense of belonging. This is where a community center comes in. But the bottom line to all of this, you need resources to perform services. When you and I got to go on the farm, and we need to do a double to pay our bills, we don't have much capacity for services. So this organization must be able to attract resources to where we can pay people that is their farm to come to work for the order. And this is where this structure comes in. If we say we'll provide services, that's talk. That's talk. It said money talk, and the other thing walk. And we know how to bring money in. I've worked with money all my professional life. We know what it takes to bring in money. The number one thing is money, love, security. The people who can bring in money, when they come in and we're all going at each other's throats, I see you, yeah? So we need to reduce conflict in this organization. And reducing conflict means that we have a unitary chain of command. And that's where that structure comes in. That structure will deliver for us. We have the capacity. You know, other people may promise you the same thing now that they have heard us say it. But I'll say this, and you know, we play ball. You got two teams, have a game to play. The coach says, go give up. Don't let no ball pass by you. Number 5, when the man can't stop the ball, give it to number 4. Give it to number 7, y'all go score. All the coaches saying the same thing. But one team wins. Why? Because they execute better. Yeah. And we will execute better because we have done it before.